And we're live with episode 10 of Total Justice Gaming, Skullman, Bannings, and you. As always, I'm Joe Tonello, Rider Kick on the forums, and of course with me is my incomparable co-host, Slam Mark something Ineski. Say something.
Mark Slam Wisniewski. Yeah, close enough. I've been abbreviating it. I'm gonna get the plugs out of the way in the beginning. I've started tweeting Mark W Slam. I tweet about wrestling, basketball, and UFS. So if any of those things interest you, follow me on Twitter. Follow the show, Joe Tonello on YouTube, and you can keep up with Total Justice Gaming as we do new shows, and subscribe. And YouTube will give you a little alert and go, hey, new Total Justice Gaming, check it out. And I'm starting to Instagram now too. I'm doing the whole social media thing, and I'm traveling to Atlanta next week, so there's going to be plenty to get pictures of and upload for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So it should be a good follow with the PTC week from Saturday. So there's plenty to look forward to. So follow all of our social media connections and get in touch with Total Justice Gaming.
Right, so we got actually quite a bit of things to talk about. We got the fan requested deck from the UK, which Mark has more about than I do. We also are talking about the current bannings of Chin and Maxima, which is actually going to shake up the meta to a degree. We'll talk about how a little bit later, but those are actually two pretty big bannings because I know that changed quite a bit of PTC playlists now, and people have to go straight back to the drawing board or just do the old fallbacks of Yori, Mai, and other people.
And that's totally true. We'll go into it a little more later in the show, but Shin and Maxima were the two best characters in Standard right now, and they're both gone. And they're gone a week and a half before the Atlanta PTC. So it's I'm sure it caught certain people off guard, especially people if you had a Maxima deck in the wings. Excuse me. I had been working with Maxima not for this PTC, but I had been working on him for Worlds as a potential deck. So I've been playing Maxima in practice for quite a while too, basically since Nats. So it definitely threw me a curveball for my Worlds plans because I test for majors usually about 2 months actually, realistically early. So I was already kind of looking at Maxima and testing them and trying builds and such. So it threw a curveball at my Worlds plans, but I build too many decks to count, so I've got plenty in the wings to mess with. But there's a lot to talk about with these bannings. But I think it's best we probably just start. We'll go less controversial, and I had a request from a viewer from the UK, Dan Austin. Thanks for sending a request for a deck he wanted to see. He requested that I help him out, but he wants to build a good Skullman. With good Skullman, I'm running something similar to this. It's a little bit different. It's more Vincent Gray specific. I'm running good Vincent Gray in Atlanta. I'm running a cousin deck to this. This is a little more tuned to Skullman and some of the tricks that he has too. Skullman, it's 532. You're going to run a lot of your character. The thing with Skullman, you don't have to stack the character. If you do, it's a plus, but you don't have to. Your form of being able to put a foundation or asset from your opponent's field on top of their deck is huge because it's going to take away whatever is their best asset against you. The other thing that you can do as well, and this is some of the tricks like Kobukin training, for example, you do the response to playing an attack, flip it, remove the keywords. Coming back next turn as Skullman, you can stack it and then maybe use Breakfast or something to draw it. The attack lineup pretty straightforward: Kaplow, Zing, Valiant Assault, Gauntlet Flurry. I'll punch. It punches a couple. You're gonna have long attack strings with this deck. It is a thing even in a 5-hander like Skullman where you can, especially with Valiant Assault, you can pull together a longer attack string fairly easily, build a couple of foundations, and throw Zings at the end. And that's why the 2 of Zing is really important. Throw It Down is, I think, that's the card I could live without, I guess, in the deck. If I was running more Zings, it might be more relevant. In retrospect, I don't know if I'd cut it completely, but I may only go to like a 1-of just to have it. It's something you could moon for a 0 high block. If you have a Zing in your early hand, you could go Throw It Down Zing. You're going to get a bunch of damage on it and draw a card probably. The other one I really like a lot is Yambarai. Yambarai it's a 0 mid block with breaker. If you have momentum, you draw a card. The inclusion in some of the stuff in this deck is momentum driven. I made it a point when I tweaked it to go to 4 living with determination. Andrew Alexis Foundation. It lets you do some stuff off good that it lets you get more consistent use out of your momentum, whether it's readying hidden laughter, whether it's using good and evil to counter revoke or something like that, or relinquishing the championship to grab up that one card you need for the kill, maybe a zing or something like that at the end of a long string. So those are the cards that I really think needed to be mentioned specifically. Breakfast is a staple for sure. You're pretty much always going to draw a card, and because Skullman is blood type O, you can -3 or +3 damage first E on an attack, so it's survivability, or it helps push your kill turn through. Young Mercenary is a nice little techie card. The form on it prevents it's kind of a counter to K-Dash. Until the beginning of your next turn, the difficulty of attack cards cannot be modified by effects. So if you get it early and you're facing the usual Void K-Dash with Darktide Summon, you can blow it up, and it keeps K-Dash having to play that Darktide Summon on the printed difficulty instead of the -3 like K-Dash can do. So it kind of keeps K-Dash in check. The E on it is really good too, though. Destroy Committed Foundation. Your opponent commits a card in their staging area, only playable during your attack. The big keyword there is your opponent commits a card. So if this isn't a stun-heavy deck where this card's a little more nasty, but there's enough. If you have it early on, you can help push through things. It works sort of like a half-ass maniacal after. Force committal, and if you get down to where maybe they went too hard and they missed, and you're going for the backswing and they left their character ready, it destroys commit a character. It commits a card. So if they're down to their character, it'll commit their character. So there is potential in it. It's only a 2-of in this deck. It's not as stun heavy as some other decks. So I felt it was a nice little techie card, and K-Dash, I think, especially after the bannings, is going to be much more popular. The 3 cards in the sideboard are cards that you could main them. I don't know if you have to. I like Astute Observer in the sideboard. People are kind of on this low attack bandwagon now. People are realizing that it's hard to block low. So Naivety is a good side. You could probably main it. I have it in the side right here, but tweaking numbers. This is kind of, decks are subjective. They're not objective. Objective, yeah. Get my wording right. With a deck like this, though, you can tweak numbers how you see fit. If you think you need the blow box main deck, that's cool. You can swap those in. Same with Sertanium Blades, which is another that's the new Mega Man stuff. It's a Cutman card. That's a really nasty card, and what it does is it throws off, if you have the momentum for it, you flip it, and your opponent adds the if you don't mind, highlight, I just want to make sure I get the wording right on it. You pick a card from your opponent's discard pile and put it into their card pool, face down. So it counters Moon. If they moon for a card, you can flip it, discard a momentum, and take the card that they had mooned for and put it into their card pool face down. It also counters, it's like in my case, if you wanted to play against this deck with Sertanium Blades, I would throw Gauntlet Flurry, you would play Sertanium Blades, and now I can't combo Valiant Assault off of it. So it's a really interesting techie card. The more I'm talking it up, the more I'm thinking I probably should put it in the main. But, we wing it here. We're shooting from the hip over at Total Justice Gaming, so we got this on lock. Always do. But with Skullman, you want to play it out a little longer than you would like a really aggressive deck. His ability, his form, is going to let you stall quite a while. You go for Order Some Hydran because it's an extra little damage pump with his Committed Foundation to take an attack out of progressive. So you would play Valiant Assault, take it out of progressive, and it gets static 2 damage from Order Some Hydran. So it's an extra little damage pump. It's a nice card, and it's really that's a nice little staple for Skullman too to go with Breakfast. The other one I went for instabilities. This was a recommendation from Keenan Meadows. There's enough stuff in the meta now that just kind of erases your attack that it's worth having probably 3 or 4 of them. Maxima was a big cause of 4, so it might go back to 2 or 3, but I actually really do like 4. And it doesn't hurt that as Skullman you can stack a 6-check if you know, okay, I need to go Gauntlet, Flurry, Valiant Assault, Valiant Assault, and you need to pass that second one on a 6. You can stack that 6-check and pass it with no problem because you're Skullman. So that's it's important to have some kind of a 6-check, I think, with Skullman. And being on good, you have a very obvious one in Instability, which is a really good one. So you don't have to force an extra card in there, like the all symbol would probably have to force a card that you might not normally play just to have a 6. This just fits the theme of the deck. It's a good play, a good tool, and it's a 6-check that you can stack as Skullman. And I think that about covers it for this one.
Other than the obligatory stuff we put in?
Yeah, obligatory stuff. I mean, Hidden Laughter, it lets you. I really love Hidden Laughter a lot. I've had debates. Me and Phil Birch have debated Hidden Laughter quite a bit. I like Hidden Laughter a lot, especially in a momentum-driven deck like this too. It always plays on a 2, so you're always going to pass it unless you randomly have a deck with 1s. But it's always going to pass on a 2. So you do whatever you got to do, and this is basically spam. But also as an E, you can discard a momentum and ready it. So it's going to help you block a lot of stuff that you normally couldn't block. And in a momentum-driven deck, it's really nice to have kind of the extra way to ready a card if you get stunned out. And I think this is a solid card, especially for what we're doing here.
All right. What are we moving on to?
We got Bannings to discuss.
Bannings? You mean the stuff that we kind of hinted at with Tim last week?
Yeah, we sort of hinted at that with Tim. After the Pro Tour in the West Coast, pretty much everyone knew that Chin was going, and it wasn't. I was trying to be very passive about it, but everyone was pretty sure that he was going to go, and he needed to. I think the biggest issue, and we'll bring up the deck in just a second here, but it's the water deck. It's the water symbol, which makes me wonder, like. I know we're in a world now. I feel I don't think they want to errata anymore. Tim, I think, talked about not errating anymore as well. But I think this is a situation where I'd love to see what Chin would be if you just swap water with order and just see like what it does. I don't, because I think the biggest issue wasn't the other 2 symbols as much as it was the crazy ass water build, and the water build was really really good. The Blazing Storms. Paralyzing Touch. You could go a couple ways with it too. Garrett had made the super stable version with, and it was probably the all-around best version. Was Paralyzing Touch, Blazing Storm, some Moons, Shiranui no Mai, a couple of tool cards, I believe Rienbu, and I'm just going off the top of my head here, but especially with Blazing Storm, and Blazing Storm was such a key card because if you're going second, you could always your opponent builds 3, builds 4. You always play if you have Blazing Storm, just throw it on turn 1. You can't fail it. Even if you check a 2, it plays on a 5. You already have 2 foundations and Chin's ability. Chin's form was less of a problem than just starting with 2 foundations. And a lot of the test games I played as Chin, I didn't even use the form. Maybe if it was like turn 3, I'd go for it, but. If you're just attacking, in Blazing Storm, you're always going to water E, so they're going to lose a foundation. They can't block it. You're going to possibly damage pump it, so they're going to take probably 6 or 7 damage on a free attack and be down a foundation behind you as you build another 3 or 4 after, and you're sitting at 6, and they're sitting at 3 at best. And they've already taken 7 damage, and come at me. Chin got really nutty, though, and Chin, I think a lot of that was the water symbol more so. That it was a combination. Like Chin's ability was way too good. The form was good, but I think on other symbols it was more of a problem. That it was like like Void Chin or Life Chin was not anywhere near as bad as Water Chin, and it was a combination of factors. And I'd love to see how an errata would have worked. Just give them a different symbol, or just take the water symbol off and make them 2 symbols. I don't know how they would do it, but that's a case where I don't. He might have been too far gone to be errated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he was that strong to begin with should have been a heads up, but
It's getting really dark in my room. I'm going to be rude and turn a light
on. As we were saying.
I look like I'm in a cave. All right. We got this.
Slam cave.
The Slam Cave, yeah. But If you could, Joe, I will bring up that deck and I'll talk a little further about a couple of things.
Screen share. Chin. Okay, it's up.
Okay, now when you look at the attack lineup, Blazing Storm is pretty straightforward. So is Paralyzing Touch, two of the best water attacks. Period. Blazing Storm is the most important, but the other thing too, Paralyzing Touch, along with Chin's form, with any kind of stun really with Chin's form, made it really good. So in the way that Chin works, and I just want to make sure I read it correctly. In order for your opponent to play an enhancer or response, they have to commit a foundation as an additional cost. So if you stun them out, they can't afford to commit another foundation to respond or enhance on when you're attacking them. So it locks out a lot of characters, Vespera and such. Characters that had a lot of enhances or responses, like a Maxima even, had a very hard time dealing with that, because if you want to enhance the breaker, you have to commit one. If you want to pick up a foundation, you'd have to like commit that foundation and then pick it up. So there were some kickers to it, and it really was a great form, but in combination with the water stun and Blazing Storm taking away foundations altogether, that's what really made this water build so crazy. This deck is literally, I believe, card for card. I took Garrett's right off the forums. It's posted on there if anyone wants to check it out. This is the deck that finally sealed the deal to get him banned. One of Mugshot, Mugshot is a staple reversal card, +1 high block, and the other card, it works. The big card here for this particular deck too is Penance, the foundation. It lets you pick up a 4-diff reversal as an enhance on your opponent's turn. So if they go to attack you and you have a couple of penances out and you have a paralyzing touch in your discard or mugshots or any number of things, it really gets nasty. Penance is a really strong card, and in combination with an already strong character and another card like Paralyzing Touch and Blazing Storm, it's really crazy. Rolling Cutter's another really good one, just awesome numbers. It can be picked up with Penance. So there's so many things that make water really good. Beyond, like, Chin just took it to another level, and that's where I'd really like to know what Chin would be like with a different symbol, because we've, on the show we've talked about other symbols and such too, and I don't think they're anywhere near this crazy. And the other card that stands out a lot too is the one of Haoreoken. I've seen more aggressive builds with Chin that run more than one Haoreoken. It's a little more ballsy. Because when you can play it on turn 1, but you got to just cross your fingers and hope you don't check it too. But if you do play it on turn 1, it's probably going to hit. It's 5 for 7. You're going to draw 2 cards off of it, and it's got the R on it where they can't play cards from their discard pile, which means like you're not going to play Moon. They can't play Moon against you after you play it. It's also a hell of a block too. If you're facing Moon, go to block and respond and take away Moon on their turn. So Haoreoken's a really nice tool. It's a good card. Napkin just makes it 10 times easier to pass checks. Chin needed to go. It was a really he's a really crazy character. I think that the ideas to errata him, the ideas would have to be really far fetched, or just something very heavy to change, like redoing his whole card.
Static.
I'm sorry?
The best way to errata him would have been to just take away his entire static, or make it.
It had been talked. I had heard it. I believe it was on the Atlanta stream on Twitch. They were talking about ideas. Maybe give him the top card of his deck instead of top 2. And I think that when you start getting into, okay, let's change a symbol, or let's rewrite the static completely. I think that sort of gets away from the point. Like I think at that point, just chalk it up as, okay, we messed this one up. Let's just ban him, put him into Legacy, and get on to the next one. And that's kind of how I feel about Chin. I think it was just the changes to errata him would be too great. It would be too much of a change to errata him to the point where you just ban him. You're making a new character basically at that point. So just ban him, and we'll see you in Legacy, Chin. Maybe.
Just maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Well, we know Chin. I believe we had a second ban.
We do. Maxima is the one that I don't know how many people really know how good Maxima is, and I'm sure that if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if there were Maximas on the West Coast, but there should have been. Maxima to me was the second best character behind Chin, and I don't know. It's just opinion, so like it's shooting from the hip, but it's bang bang. The thing with Maxima is that there were a lot of little interactions with Maxima that made him really dumb, and a lot of them. And this is like we'll start with the big one is Protect Your Master. Protect Your Master is one of the biggest issues that you have in conjunction with Maxima. It's a 3-high block, and it's got a static on it. After you play this card as a block, add it to your staging area, commit. So we'll assume I turn one, I just play Protect Your Master into my staging area just normally. You go to attack me, you throw a high attack at me. I'll enhance on Maxima, pick up Protect Your Master for the -2 damage. I'll block with it, and the static on it will bring it right back to my staging area immediately. It's not like end of turn or anything, it goes immediately. So you play a second high attack, I go, all right, enhance, pick up that same Protect Your Master with Maxima, block with it, it comes right back down. So it was an infinite high block that was reusable out of progressive. So Protect Your Master with Maxima was a really crazy interaction. There were also basic little fundamental problems with Maxima, like, and I don't know if they're really problems, but this was kind of, it works similar to, it's an easier version of the Skullman stuff. Like, we'll look at Perfect Accuracy, for instance. Perfect Accuracy, you flip it over, abilities on the card on a chosen foundation can't be played this turn. So if you would blank a card, E on Maxima, pick it up, and you could replay it next turn. There were little interactions like that made him really crazy. Also stuff like Lion Stance. You could Lion Stance for Perfect Accuracy and use that enhance and flip it. And because it becomes a face-down foundation, you can then E on Maxima, pick your Lion Stance back up. The one other one that I don't have in this particular build is Time Gate. Time Gate was another one. It's an asset that flips and cancels a action card. And with Time Gate, it's the same idea. Anything that flips and becomes a foundation, means Maximus going to pick it back up. The other little interactions that were kind of rough is stuff like, say you play a high-speed mid-attack, we'll say Chasm Buster. It's a 6 mid for 6. I'll E on Girl Like Any Other, commit it, give it -3 damage or -3 speed, and then I'll pick it up with Maxima for -2 damage, and then I'll block with that same card that I just reduced your speed with. So the basic fundamental stuff with Maxima of just, all right, I'm going to use the ability, pick it back up, and now I can block with that card I just picked up, made it really crazy. And eventually you'll just get to a point where Maxima is so walled up that you can't really beat him. And you can, I guess, but you'd have to have a miracle.
Well, I heard that some Maxima matches were going on and lasting almost legacy time length of possibly in up to 3 hours.
I can't confirm or deny those time limits. I know that Drew is kind of he played so well with Maxima. I think he sort of, like, when people saw what he was doing, and he played him in all 3 events at Nats and topped with him in all of them. Maxima's really good, and he kind of hit on some of these interactions, like Protect Your Master, basically anything where you could flip the card, or if it had an effect where you commit and then you can pick it back up. It made it really crazy, and the answer to Maxima, and this is where I do think he could have been saved with an errata. I think if you added 1 ready foundation from your staging area, that would have made a big difference. Mm-hmm. It would turn off the Protect Your Master interaction. It wouldn't allow people to go, all right, Girl Like Any Other -3 speed, pick it up and then block with it.
Yeah.
I think that he could have been suited by an errata more so than Chin. I think Chin would have been basically creating a new character. I think the basic idea of Maxima would still stay the same. You don't have to change symbols, the same functionality, the same ability, basically, but instead of just add 1 foundation, just add 1 ready foundation. And I don't think that would drastically change him, but I know that erratas are not a thing. So I'm sorry?
I said, yeah, we are in that current state of game where we're getting a new influx of players, and As Tim said last week, rather than try to track down the correct card wording, we just get rid of the card altogether and make it easier for them.
That yeah, and I understand. I get the logic on both sides. I don't know. Like I feel weird with Maxima getting banned because I don't know if he necessarily had to, and it's just I haven't been playing nearly as long as anybody, yourself included, Joe. Like you've been playing way longer than me. I don't know if this has always been a thing, but like I don't. I feel like this. If I get if you don't want to have a rat like this is, but this is something that I think was a pretty easy fix without having to just ban a guy. Like I get Chin. And I kind of spoke on Chin a little bit about this. I'll just repeat myself, but you'd had to sort of remake Chin like from the ground up. It'd be like a whole new character to make him play like not broken. Maxima, I think you have the same idea. It's just add one ready foundation. I think would be different, and I think it would be effective. So I think he'd still be solid. I don't even think he'd be bad if he was one ready foundation. It would just take away some of the cheese stuff. The protect your master, especially, is probably the big one. But it would take away some of the extra stuff. And Maxima does eventually just get to a point where he wins. The attack lineup is very straightforward: piercing Halasagaki, harnessing Maxima laser. Team K-Dash is an incredible block that becomes a really good damage pump later if you need it. Lion Stance lets you get whatever you need if I brought this up a little bit last week, but I like one of superior technique just for fun. It's a response that people forget it has a response on it. After your opponent plays an ability on their character, add a card from your discard pile to your hand, and it removes itself from the game. So it clears a card pool, and you get a card from your discard pile of your choice, and it adds to your hand. It's not like Moon where it's played from your hand. It goes to your hand. The other thing, Silent Assassin, Best of Both Evils. This was a suggestion from Drew Maffei, and I'm going to give him a lot of props on this deck because this was him kind of walking me through how to build Maxima because I was trying to get a kind of a Maxima together to test and then ultimately maybe play at Gen Con. But he recommended 2 Silent Assassin, 3 Best of Both Evils. Maxima Laser on turn 2, you're not going to block it, but on turn 8 you can. So you have Harnessing Chaos, Silent Assassin, and Best of Both Evils are all keys to sort of make it where they're not going to block it this time. They're just going to eat this, whatever the damage is, 10, 12, 14. So those are the kind of cards that get you there. There's nothing ridiculous here. There's nothing, obscenely crazy, but some of the interactions with Maxima were really busted, and I think an errata would have done the job. I don't hate him getting banned, but I'd have preferred an errata.
They're not going to errata Spider-Girl. They're certainly not going to errata him.
Yeah, I think part of the difference too with Vespera though is that this I don't know if everyone agrees, and that's fine. You don't have to. That's why we talk. I think Paralyzing Touch is more busted than Vespera is, and I think that's I've seen Vesperas that don't use Paralyzing Touch, and while they're okay, they're not nearly as good. The idea of getting, if you try to attack her turn 2 and eating a Paralyzing Touch is way worse than eating Cascading Fear or something like that. I think Paralyzing Touch is more busted than she is, but it's, I think. To me, like this is just my opinion on it. If I ruled the world, I'd ban Paralyzing Touch. I don't think the errata's enough for it either. I think it's still way overpowered for what it does, and I think Paralyzing Touch is way worse than Vespera. So that would be my opinion if I ruled the world, but I don't. I'm not a play tester or anything. I'm just a dude talking about cards with my buddy. So it's that's what we are. But if I ruled the world, I would ban Paralyzing Touch. I'd errata Maxima, and I'd ban Chin.
And there we go. That's much better.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, I was wondering why Maxima looks so scrunched up. Sorry about that, guys. Small technical error on my part, kind of, maybe. No idea.
No, it's and Maxima's a really good character. I've tried a couple different runs with him. I tried out of the box Maxima stuff. I tried him off with Earth Lows using like stuff that would just draw cards, and it was. It was okay. Earth Lows was fine. Like Maxima could do it. I tried to do Maxima without laser because laser's obscenely hard to obtain too. It's the hardest ruler time card to get for sure. So I was trying some alternate stuff. I have the resources to borrow, but I try not to if I can avoid it. Sometimes you have to. But Maxim is really good. I wish they had just errated him because I don't think he needs to go. But I think in his current state he would have to go if you're just like no erratas. But I get it. Like I get both sides where you don't want to alienate new players by having them have to go to the forum and find the errata text. But the thing is though is that with the current standard as it is, there's about 20 cards that are errated. Like Phil Birch is errated. So I mean there's a bunch of cards out there that are errated as is.
Phil needs to be errated though, not the card, just Phil.
Yeah. Oh, as a person?
Yeah, Phil needs to be errated as a person.
Why do we got to errata Phil?
Because it's Phil.
I like him. I mean, I don't know if we errata him. Do we errata him and make him like more?
We errata him
like,
to be even more salty.
No, I got to share a car for 11 hours with that guy to Atlanta next week. I don't want even saltier Phil.
We want him to have salty crackers. Look at him and go dang.
Oh yeah, but I think. Also, a real quick little tech thing too that I didn't mention that is revoke. For revoke, you play it as a form. It goes face down as a foundation, and then whenever you feel like you need a revoke as Maxima, you just enhance on Maxima and pick up the revoke. So there's another interaction.
Maxima is really, really good. He's even good off evil. Remember, I tried that Maxima deck off evil.
Yeah, and he can work off evil too, and similar tricks. You lose some of the other stuff like protect your masters and some of the extra discard, but he's still really good off evil. Off evil, you get access to the Alice card, Remember Your Masters, where you discard your hand and the attack gets X speed and damage equal to the number of cards that you discarded. So you would pick up 3 with Maxima Laser, pick up another one with Maxima. On top of whatever's in your hand, you then discard all those cards, and Maxima Laser gets really, really big.
And then you got access to instability because you're running off evil.
Yep. So you have instability, which would counter stuff like Out of Control Giant, or if you have the mirror match with Maxima, stuff like that too. So you would have counters that way. So it's Maxima was really good. Void, I think, just took it to another level. Some of the interactions on Void were really crazy. Mm-hmm. So obviously, number one, I've said it like 10 times, but I don't care. That's fine. It's Protect Your Masters. That interaction's really dumb. I played. I believe it was Marcus Singleton. I was trying to remember what match it was. And he had a multiple. He was playing Zero Shiki, the Kim Capricorn multiple 3 kick, right? Multiple 3, multiple 4, something like that. And it's a high, and I blocked all the highs with the same Protect Your Master 4 times in a row. So it's pretty dumb. The Void build is pretty dumb, but it's basically if you see turn 3 or turn 4, you're not losing. And you have enough tricks to get there to turn 3 or turn 4 where you're not going to lose. So it was really Maxim was really good. I think Ready Foundation is the errata though, but they're not going to do it, and that's fine. Let him. If he's banned, he's banned. But so him and Chin being banned going forward, it's really going to throw a monkey wrench into stuff. You can be more aggressive, I think, too. Against if you were worried about the Maxima matchup, you can go with that. I think it's going to open up other water decks too, because the problem that water had was that a lot of the builds kind of went, okay, I'm a water deck, and I want to build. I'll take one that I looked at in particular for myself. I looked at Water Elizabeth, and it was one of those. The reason I didn't build it was because I went, okay, everything I'm doing here, I might as well just be Chin, and that's why I didn't build it. And I think it's going to open the door to more creativity by banning Chin. There's certain aggro decks that I don't think had a chance against Maxima, and I think those are going to change. I think people can be a little more aggressive. Not that Iori isn't already aggressive, but there's stuff that you can run now that you don't have to worry about. Okay, Maxima's just going to erase my whole thing with Protect Your Master, or he's going to breaker me to death, or reduce all my damage. So I think the meta's opened up, and this is probably for the best. Chin for sure, Maxima probably too. So I'm okay with it. It's short notice before a big pro tour like Atlanta, but I'm okay with it, and I think Atlanta is going to be a much better tournament for it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, this is short notice, but guys, we still got a ton of viable people out in this game now. I mean, the Skullman we just showed is perfectly tournament compatible, or perfectly competitive in a tournament, excuse me. We still have Iori Tricks. K-Dash is still very alive and well. Mize are still there. Even the Gen Con Kyo is starting to pick up play again now with some new stuff coming out.
There is. I'll give a little love to
Mega Man people.
I'll give a little love to Andrew Alexa too. I mean, top aided with the Gen Con Kyo. And me and you had talked about Kyo on and off the air a bunch, trying to get him to work. And Andrew top aided with him and lost unfortunately to super busted Chin. But if I think it's really I think that Kyo's really good. I think Vespera is still a thing. Vincent Gray's really good. Iori's good. There's a lot out there that people can be playing meta-wise. I wish the five-handers were a little better. I'd love to be able to say, hey, guys, go play Clark or Goro. Skullman's pretty good. Skullman's got some issues too. The five-handers all have kind of an issue where they have a very hard time. They get outbuilt really fast. And the meta is pretty fast right now. Even the so-called slow decks are like turn 3, turn 4 kind of decks, which it's harder to play the 20-turn. And this isn't a knock on Jeremy at all. This is just to give an idea of how Skullman was so successful, though. You could kind of sit back with Skullman, and he had all these tools pre-rotation, especially, to just sort of like stuff like Hunt for Jin and things like that, which is now banned. And he could sort of sit back and win on turn 12, and it's hard. It's very hard to get to turn 12 anymore to just hit the I win button. You have to be very specific decks, and Skullman can probably still do it, but it's much more of it takes much more effort. It's much harder to do now post rotation. And like I said, not a knock on Jeremy at all. He's one of the best. He's one of the best there is as far as just getting to that long game. Him and Garrett especially are the two that I really look at and go, okay, these guys just get the game to a point where they're going to win. And that's kind of what I'd like to get to as a player myself. But it's very hard to get to that point before Iori derps you. And Iori's still stupid. And I think Iori needed to be looked at as much as Maxima did. And maybe I'm crazy, but...
Now, I believe the reasoning for Iori is with the rotation, Iori got tolerable. He's still exceedingly powerful like everybody else that we've just named, but his tricks, some tricks, not all, but some of them were mitigated and gone with the ban, or rotation.
In testing, I found that that's not as true as I thought. And I thought that he was going to be really... I've tested a lot of Iori because that's the matchup I'm probably most afraid of, because honestly, if he goes first, I don't care what character you are, you're in some trouble. And the thing is, even if you're like Vespera or something, the attacks get so fast that it's very hard to stop them. And for instance, all right, I'm going to start with Chasm Buster. And this, I don't know if this is a byproduct of Iori as much as it is the attacks, because there's stuff like Chasm Buster. Chasm Buster is the big one for me because it essentially for Iori you have it by itself. It becomes, you lose 2 life. It becomes a 6 mid for 6. It's got stun 2, so you stun 2, and then as Iori you go enhance, lose 3 life. It gets 3 more speed, so it's a 9 mid for 6. And then they're not going to block it, especially like most Ioris go off on turn 2, even now. So it's a 9 mid for 6. You respond on Iori, it clears itself, and they burn 3 more. So they take a 9 damage on one attack that they couldn't block, and you've stunned 2. Then you can throw whatever you want at them, whether it's a Piercing Howl that's a 6 high for 4 if you're Iori that clears itself. Flash Lightnings, which are 3 mid for 3s that no one wants to block, that either they block and it goes to your momentum so that you can hit them with a Divine Trip later, or they have to eat the 3. I think it's more of a byproduct of the chaos attack lineup for Iori right now than it is Iori himself. I think he's still pretty stupid and he shouldn't be able to do what he does. I think there should be some sort of a limit on his draw, but he at least I don't think anything's changed. And I think if people go the chaos build and you put a couple of copies of Sign in Blood, which gives your next mid attack -2 difficulty in a deck that runs all mids except for Piercing Howl and Trib, where you can throw Chasm Busters late in your turn, Yatagarasu late in your turn. it gets pretty stupid. Yatagarasu's another one. With the new Iori, it's almost always a 9 mid for 6, or if you have 2 momentum already lined up for some reason, you can discard 2 momentum and remove it from the game and burn your opponent for 6 and draw more cards. So Iori is still busted. I think Chaos Iori, the only thing that's going to keep people from playing him is fear of diversity, because I think he's the best character left. And I'm sure that there's people that will argue it or do different things. But
Ooh, we have 2 viewers. Hello, viewers.
Works for me. Thank you for watching. Please go back and re-watch this, because we're kind of nearing the end of the road here. But I still think Iori's way too strong. I think, and this is the hard part. This is that balance issue with UFS, and this is why at times I'm glad I'm not in playtest. I'd love to be a part, but at the same time, there's times where I'm like, like, is it really Iori or is it the lineup? Because I've seen other builds. I've tried Evil personally because I had a hunch that Evil might still be good, and it's not as good as Chaos. And it's the same with Fire. I've seen Fire builds, and the Fire builds are solid, but they're not as consistent or as good as Chaos. And I think part of it is it's Piercing Howl, it's Divine Tribulation on a 3, it's it's Chasm Buster. You get off Evil and Chaos, but it's the combination like Chasm Buster, Flash Lightning, Piercing Howl, Trib, Yatagarasu, that lineup, which is exactly the same as the one that killed everybody in Vegas, is still there. And I think the attack lineup is more important than the foundation base. If you get Last Ditch Gambles or something, it's a plus. But you still have access now. You still have Sign in Blood, which is an awesome card. Last Ditch. So there's ways to hack these checks and get things to push through. And if you mix in 4 Flash Lightnings that you're just playing on a 1 anyway, that don't count basically towards progressive for you. I think Iori's still way too strong.
Now, what about K-Dash? Because I know there's some people that are still looking at K-Dash. Need to be the mass combo play or the Darktide Summon version.
Oh, it's Darktide Summon version. And I think the reason that you go that build, because I've looked at some other ones, I think the one other build that worked for him is the Curse of Corruption build, but that's obviously rotated. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal. I think K-Dash is good. I think he treads that line very well between, like, I think he's I'm trying to figure out a comp for him, like a character comp. But I think he's really good, but I don't think he's busted. Like, I think there are things that can beat him. You have to, like, Kobukin training is tough for him because most of the Darktide Summon builds are off voids, so there's not a lot of sexy answers to Kobukin training. I don't, top of my head, I don't know if there's anything just like if you're playing Revoke, you can just kind of revoke them. So there's stuff that can stop the Darktide Summon build, which is the big one with K-Dash. He has to play a lot more rounded. He has to sit back and wait for Stoic and Cynical, which will cancel a negation. So it takes a lot of work. I don't think K-Dash is. I think he's good, but I don't think he's busted. Like Chin or something like that, or even Iori. I don't think he's on that level. I think he's really good. Don't get me wrong, but I think there are things that can beat him, as opposed to other things where I just don't like Iori. It's just kind of did he go first? All right, well, you're probably in trouble. That's kind of my gripe with Iori. He has to really kind of blow himself off. Iori has to beat himself for you to lose. It has to be bad checks, like the worst of the worst checks or something. It really is I joked with Phil, it's masturbatory UFS. It's him playing with himself, and if he dies, he dies. But he has to beat himself. You can't. It's hard for you to beat him.
So, gosh, who else we have? I mean, we still got the Mize, and everybody knows how Mai plays now. I don't think there are any really new tricks for her, are there?
Not really. I've looked at some stuff. Because Mai is on my short list for. I've looked at her for like Gen Con and stuff. I think there's a couple of ways you can go. I really like her off of Life, and I think Life might be randomly her best symbol. With Life, you get access to the with Life you get stuff like the what is it? I've tried a couple different ways. I've gone both Divine Tribulation. I've done like the Divine Tribulation, Kaplow builds. Spinning Necro Driver, Haoryoken. There's a lot of great life cards and stuff like Haoryoken. The one weakness of Haoryoken is that on the surface, 5 high for 7 on like turn 3 isn't that relevant, but 8 high for 10 on turn 3 is very relevant. So she can really make that a big thing, and in life gain and that comboed with her own life gain, she can be a half-ass like decent, life gain deck. So I like that quite a bit. I think Mize is really solid. I like her. I like playing the set one that gives the 3/3 to an attack, and then stacking the Gen Con one that where it's a form lose life. Your attacks get X damage and X speed equal to the number of character cards in your staging area. So if you get even one stacked, your attacks become really massive, really quick. So you could play for a short game with her and go really aggressive, and then maybe throw some characters in off of life, and then play for the long game. So I think she's really flexible and a really strong character. Vincent Gray's are really good. All 3 symbols I think are solid.
Yeah, I was going to say the Vincent Gray hasn't lost anything. If anything, it's probably gained some more.
Vincent Gray just keeps getting better, and he's a solid meta choice with people trying to throw these big attacks at you really early. He was randomly a decent counter to Chin if you had the R ready to respond and commit something. He can sort of hang with the Ori a little bit. It's still tough, certain aggressive decks, but Vincent Gray is still really good, and his damage pump, excuse me, his damage pump is very luck based. You got to check a 5 and then hope that they flip over a nice card. And there's gonna be times, and I've got this from experience, where guys maybe playing like an evil deck or something, and like flips 0/0/0, so I check a 5+ for 0 damage, and that's gonna happen. But then there's gonna be those times where, and I'll give Keith Disbro some love on this one. I was playing Liu Chen with Wrath of Heavens, and he flips over a Wrath of Heaven, which was an 8 diff attack, and gives his attack 8 damage. So Vincent Gray can really just wreck you with one good flip. So he's really good. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that'll be big.
I know Cutman.
I'm sorry?
A lot of people are looking for Cutman.
They're just trolling us, man. I'm telling you, like, no one really wants to see Cutman. It's because we did one show that said that Cutman sucks, and then Garrett put a thing in a forum saying, haha, let's get them to build Cutman. Cutman's horrible. Cutman's really bad. I think Gutsman's really good.
Yeah, I was going to ask, well, what about Gutsman then?
I think Gutsman's really good. I think his potential with reversals, like reversal Kaplow and then stun 2 more, like stun 2 and then stun 2 more on your opponent's turn. Tiger kick reversal. Like, I like reversals and multiples and stuff like that with him. You could do something like you play like Shorty Dan and do like multiple 1, and then you give the first one 2, and then you give the multiple another 2, you give it stun 2 and 3 damage, and then the multiple stun 2 and 3 damage, and just blow out their whole board. I think he's really strong. I like the idea of R after you check an attack, just add it to your hand. I think Gutsman's really good. I like him a lot. I think he's the best Mega Man character. I don't even think it's close. I think the other ones are all fun tier. And I'm including Mega Man in that. I don't think Mega Man's I don't think you can. I'll just put it out there. Like, I don't think you could win worlds with Mega Man, but I think Gutsman is the best Mega Man character. I think he's the best 5-hander right now. I think he's better than all the other 5-handers. I think someone's going to find the right build for him, and it's just going to be it. Gutsman's too good. Not too good like in a broken sense, but I mean he's too good to not get some love. Like, I see him be doing really well at majors and such. Just going forward, I think Gutsman's going to be really good.
All right. Gosh, who else do we got? I mean, we got like tons of people that could still possibly be good. I mean, we got Gen Con Kyo. Technically, to a degree, Gen Con Iori possibly, but the other Iori just outshines him. I mean, even some of the Darkstalkers, once they're released next month, could be good from what we've seen already.
There's some interesting stuff in Darkstalkers. Out of what we've seen, like, I think Hoitzel could be interesting. Without seeing like the whole rest of the set, obviously, I don't know if there's like a world beater. I don't. And I've talked about this previously, but I look at the game as like on a tournament level. Like, can this guy win worlds? And then I understand there's a fun tier and stuff, and I do mess with the fun tier, but like, unfortunately, I think one of my favorite King of Fighters characters in Takuma is really a fun tier character. And I've tried some different builds. It's like, he's fun tier. He's not serious. I wish he was serious, but he's not. I think that I think from a tournament standpoint, I don't see at least so far I don't see anyone that I think could win worlds or anything. But like I think there's definite fun tier in there. I think if you're a Morgan fanboy, you can make Morgan work. If you're a Hoytzel, if I don't know why, but if you're a Hoytzel fanboy, you can make Hoytzel work. So I do think there's some fun stuff there, and I think the fun tier is a thing, and I think that's I don't know if these cards are going to be as good as they are fun, and I don't know if I like that or not. But there's not at the end of the day, if you're having fun, that's I guess is all that matters. Winning's cool, but if you're not enjoying the game, what the hell are you playing for? So have fun too.
Yeah. I mean, guys, it's all about having fun. I'm a horrible player. Mark can contest to that.
You just need
and
those reps, Joe.
it's hard to get reps these days, but I'm keeping trying, and I've explained how my learning process differs from you guys up there, so my reps will probably get a little bit better as time goes on. Gosh, what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, to Joe Hill, who's over in Britain. I love that man. Wonderful person. Talked to him before here on Total Justice Gaming. He's wondering what he should play now that Chen and Max are banned. Joe, play Ash 2 Death Discard. It's a thing. It's a good thing. It's a fun thing. It may work.
Play Girl King, and this would be my suggestion. You play Girl King. We're gonna go Water Kicks. We're gonna find. I'm sure there's enough. There's enough cards to make it happen. Go Water Kicks, and you're only four diff attack, and the whole deck's gonna be Tornado Kick 95. So you play a bunch of the ride and drop kicks that make your next check to play a 4 diff attack get +3, and you play like 7 kicks in a row, and you Moon for more, and you Clandestine for more, and Holiday Cheer for more. And then at the end of that string, when you've played kick number 8, and it's a Tornado Kick 95, and you're playing it on a 12 with +9 to the check, and you go, all right, 4 mid for 28, and you ask them if they're dead. That would be my suggestion. Girl King for, First Lady President. I'm cool with that.
And now we know what we're going to be showing next week.
I'll build it, man. If you want, I'm going to be traveling next week though, so I don't know if I'll be here or not. If not, I'm going to at least leave some stuff for Joe to show you, and I'll try. I'll try. I don't know how it's going to be with travel wise, but I'm heading to Atlanta next week.
Yes, and good luck to you in Atlanta.
Dude, I'll do my best, man. I'm going to try and represent us.
Atlanta, I do apologize that I am not able to be there with you guys. I recently just got back from my trip to Denver Comic-Con. I'm sure some of you have gone to my Facebook, seen the pictures of me in my ambush bug costume. I'm sure if Mark saw them, he'd be blind.
Oh, I saw them. I'm blind as we speak. I'm just going from sense memory. You got this.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. The fact that a little 5-year-old girl ran up to me and asked for my autograph because I was ambush bug made the trip just worthwhile,
What is the difference, and it's just from my life of experience with cons, like what's set Denver Comic-Con apart from like going to like a Gen Con or something like that?
Deadpools are polite.
Okay. In Denver or in Gen Con? Because I try to avoid the Deadpools because I just assume they're all smartasses.
In Denver. Deadpools are polite in Denver.
That's good.
No, I mean, seriously, that was literally a moment that me and my buddy, and the guys, we're pretty much done with this stuff. This is just me rambling, so we'll cut off here in a second. Literally, that was a moment I had when the guys that I stayed with and I were sitting there having breakfast, and I sat there and realized, you know what the most enjoyable part about Denver is? Even the Deadpools are polite. And they sat there and they looked at each other like, my God, you're correct.
Oh, Jesus. Deadpool's never polite.
No, he's not. But we had Deadpools that literally came up, asked our permission to take our pictures.
Now, Joe, I
think we just lost a viewer because of it. We went from 5 to 4. Of course, Google Plus has been being a pain in the butt, too.
I don't blame them. That's fine.
Right, what were you
Joe, I
do
have a question regarding the show now. As we're learning this whole Google Hangouts process, and this is something for the viewers going forward, we've figured out how to start taking questions now, right? Like live questions.
There's a little tab called Q&A, which I need to turn on prior to the show. because it doesn't work.
There we go.
It keeps bouncing back and forth, 5 and 4. So that means it's Google Hangout being a pain in the butt, guys. And again, I do apologize. But yes, let me push it. You can only turn this feature on and off before broadcast for Q&A. So Q&A is pretty much you guys will be able to view in live. I'm actually going to put in the comment section below a link to my Google Plus page, and then that way you guys at 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time can just go to my Google Hangout page, my Google Plus page, and then the link will be up there, and we'll be starting around those times. And then it'll be easier for you, and then we'll start up Q&As once we sit there and do some testing, which Mark and I will do after this thing. But we will be able to have you guys on the show live answering, and we will take your questions and answer them the best we can. God willing.
That's the goal, because and to anyone, like, because I know we tried to get people to be able to jump in live and just kind of watch, and we've had some technical issues with it. We're doing what we can, and please bear with us. We're both still kind of getting the hang of the whole Google Hangouts taking questions live kind of stuff. It's a process.
I don't. I've been doing this for a year. I have no excuse. I'm just suck, guys.
I'm on week 10 of this, so I should know more than I do as well. But we're going to we're evolving as this goes. We're gonna try and make it to where we can take questions live as we're doing this. I'm glad that we were able to answer a question for Joe Hill live, and I hope people just keep asking questions. And this is a good time, I think, to plug again. If you have questions or anything, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Mark Wisniewski on Facebook, just look me up. I've got about 20 mutual UFS friends, so you'll probably find me. But on Twitter and Instagram, it's Mark W. Slam, and you can follow me on either of those. I'm going to be doing I'm trying to make it a point to tweet more and be more active. I'll be tweeting live from Atlanta regarding UFS. I'm going to hashtag UFS if you're trying to find stuff. And
actually, Mark, get with me after the show, and I'll be able to set something up with your Twitter account and the website.
Not a problem at all. We'll adjust that. But for Instagram, I'm going to try and tweet some photos. I don't know. I'm going to try and not treat it as much like vacation photos as it will be. I'm going to try and keep it a little more pro and do some UFS stuff. I'm going to try and keep the Instagram UFS related while I'm out there. So it should be good times though, and check it out. I'm trying to do as much social media as I can and get more people watching and checking out the show, and spread the word, guys. If you got anyone that's into UFS, get them tell them check out Total Justice Gaming.
Yep. And as always, guys, don't forget to find us at Gen Con when Gen Con happens, because it'll happen. We'll be there.
I'll be there for sure. I know Joe's going. We're going to probably do a live show too, and that'll be some good stuff.
Ooh, we got someone that shared our video. Yay!
Jesse Cervini coming through in the clutch. That man is a great riding player, and anyone who wants to play riding is a friend of mine. So.
And Jesse, I do apologize how much of a pain in the butt it was to get to us. Like I said, we're working it out. We're working it out. All right, so we'll wrap up this episode. We got some things to discuss.
Thanks for watching, though, guys. Check us out next week.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching, all 5 of you viewers. That's 5 more than we've had in the past current time, so we're growing. We're trying. All right, let me stop screen sharing. Yay, I'm back to me again. All right, and we will cut out, and we'll see you guys maybe next week with just me. God help you all. Or maybe we'll have Mark on a pre-talk, post-strategy thing. We don't know. We'll figure something out.
Best.
All right, take it easy, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. For the love of God, go to the forums and say something to us. We like when you talk to us on the forums. Yeah, we like.
I got a quick question. Matthew Curtis Starter is yelling at me to check Twitter for a question. Do we have time, Joe?
We have plenty of time. We always have time for you guys' questions.
All right, killer.
Unless
Let
it's
me
a
find
question from Matt
a.
wondering why I'm
Let
not
me pull
going.
up my Twitter
Then we
notifications.
don't have
This
time.
is social media, man. I'm telling you, this is terrific. All right, this is going to be a quick one. I'm going to just go top of my head and this is a great question. Matt Turner, ATL Piglet, asking me top 5 decks after bans. All right, number one.
Iori.
I'm going pretty straightforward. I'll try and rank them, but I'm just shooting from the hip. I'll go number one. I'll say probably Darktide Summon K-Dash. Number two, Chaos Iori. Number three. Now is where it gets hard.
You may want to repeat your list because you kept going in and out.
Four. Did I? Okay, it was Darktide Summon K-Dash. I'll put it number one. I'll go Chaos Iori at number two. Death Vespera at number three. Death Garrett Brett at four. And I'll say Order Vincent Gray at five. And I'm just picking a symbol for Vincent Gray, but I think Vincent Gray's in the top five.
Yeah. For me, Chaos Iori, Darktai K-Dash. I will be an old stickler for an old favorite. Air Kyo, Gencon Kyo. Possibly Evil Gutsman. And good Vincent Gray.
I like it, and I think and Matt Turner, man, thank you. You're my brother. Thank you so much for the question. I'm loving the interactivity. It makes the show much more. It clicks more when we have more feedback and stuff live. But you just submit questions and just keep this going. This is terrific. Like I said, this is opinions. We shoot from the hip. So if you disagree or you agree, whatever, let us know, and we'll talk about it. Whatever. This is two dudes talking UFS. We're talking cards. So if
you guys want more questions answered while we get this whole Q&A set up things, hit up Mark's Twitter, leave questions for it, and we'll address them on the next show.
Yep, just submit questions. Well, I'll be keeping a little list of stuff that people are asking throughout the week, and next show we do, I'll try and do it just live from Atlanta, and we'll get this. We'll try and answer some questions next week.
We do not guarantee next show to be a sober show. Just saying.
No.
All right, so that'll be it for us tonight.
And on a side note, I just got asked, why do I love death?
Why do you love death?
Real quick, I'm sorry. I just got asked real quick as kind of a follow-up to my list. Why do I love death? Not death like, people dying, but like the death symbol. I think death has some of the best tools in UFS right now. I think it's got terrific attacks. I think you can go multiple ways with it, whether it's reversal suite, you can go divine trib, you can go both if you're a you can go both if you're a man. But honestly, I think death works better for certain characters. Like I think Death Vespera is really strong. I like the interaction with it is the duo Lan card where after an attack deals damage, you respond, and your opponent reveals top 3 or top 5 cards and discards all non-attack cards. So if your opponent's attacking you and you reversal, you connect with the reversal, and you basically stack attacks on top of their deck that they have to check on when they're trying to attack you further. So it ruins attack turns. Holiday Cheer obviously is a great card, and if you're going to play Death for the long game, Holiday Cheer, you're going to get to the point where you can draw 5 off of it too. I think Garrett, as a death character, does some extra stuff too because he gets the benefits of stuff from good, like Astute Observer if you want, or off of air you can go in something like Agent Team. You can also go Contacting Hider, and Garrett's character is really good. Excuse me, but one thing Garrett does especially well is Nevose, which is the Ash attack, where after your opponent passes on an attack or passes on enhance, it gets 1 damage, and then you can at a certain point, if they pass on enhance, it gets 4 speed. Most people will just hold out for the speed and then just block it at a 2 mid. Garrett forces you to have to block it at whatever he decides to pump the speed to. So Navose's really nasty in him. I think Death has some really cool tools. It's got to be the right characters. I think Paul Bittner can do similar stuff with just going like a man's deck and just going like a bunch of reversal suite like Widow and stuff like that and Trib. So I think there's some stuff there. It's so I love the Death symbol. It's one of my favorites. If I had a character, it'd probably have Death on it right now. So that's why, man. That's my opus on why I love Death so much.
He's just crazy. He's just crazy. Okay, we're actually ending this time. We promise. We went over our time.
We are. If more questions, just submit them on Twitter or.
Submit them to Mark's Twitter, and we'll see.
Yeah, just submit questions. YouTube, Twitter. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.